Hey, listen, I never thought about snorting cocaine before, but maybe now I can safely because the government obviously is okay with it. I'm telling you, this country, the mindset of these people is at a breaking point. We're at a precipice in this country where something has to be done with these liberal nuts. Look how small these goslings are. One's trying to make a break for it up the flood control channel. So there's two sets of parents, and they are raising them together. It looks like one set is a couple days older than the others. Well, another day, another liberal scandal. You can't go by a day in this country without something nefarious being associated with the Liberal Party of Canada. Now, this is going to tie into to a high probability the CBC was involved. Everyone knows about the Christian residential school Christian scam, Catholic Church scam that the federal Liberals under Trudeau perpetrated upon the rest of Canada in 2021, where they come up with this, they unhatched this plan to say there is 215 deceased residential school children in a mass grave or unmarked graves behind the Kamloops Residential School in BC. Now, $12.1 million is a number that's being floated around with regards to what was given to them to exhume that area and find some evidence of said graves. And to this day, that has not happened 5 years later. Now, it is coming to the forefront more and more. I've done several videos on it, and Moose on the Loose, David from Moose on the Loose, did a follow-up with it this morning, or last night, whenever. And he's putting a lot of focus on it as well. And the main focus that made David do an update video is with regards to Francis Widdowson. He's one of the people that have thoroughly investigated the false claims, the false accusations of these 215 deceased children, so, or in unmarked graves. So CBC, it's between the Aboriginal People's Network TV show, and it's being linked to the CBC. Like, I don't know 100% conclusively that the CBC is involved, but David from Moose on the Loose and a couple other people, including Widdowson, think CBC is involved. So what they did, they had a quite famous, I don't know who this person is, but he's quite well known for doing prank videos. So APTN or CBC hired this guy to punk quote unquote Widdowson, Francis Widdowson, in an interview. And more or less it was a smear campaign put on from this I don't know, propaganda filmmaker. And I didn't see the video. I couldn't find the video. So if someone can point me out where that video is, I'd like to watch it. But it was quite a well done production, and I would imagine to get this guy up, I believe he's from the States, to get this guy up to Canada, or to fly Widdowson in to wherever this meeting took place, it obviously costs money, and it would be the taxpayers' money if it was a CBC. Now, you have to ask yourself, obviously the CBC is the propaganda wing of the Liberal Party of Canada. It's a complete like throwback to communist propaganda days in Russia, in the Soviet Union. That's all they are. They get paid in the billions of dollars with promises of even more money into the multi-billions of dollars to keep this propaganda wing of the CBC functioning. Now, this is how malicious and how undermining they are to go after. She's a PhD professor, to go after a woman and try to make a mockery of her for pointing out the truths with regards to the bullshit 215 deceased children in that mass grave. That is bullshit. Residential schools existed, we get that. And the government of Canada pumped out $5.4 billion to people that went to residential schools. All you had to do is fill out some questionnaire in the mail it back in with what school you went to, or you just went to school, and you just waiting for your check in the mail. This fucking government is completely corrupted, completely out of control. They are running this country into the ground worse than a third world nation. I'm telling you, some of these, I'm not going to compare Canada to some of the countries in the third world, because I haven't been through third world countries extensively. So I can't say that I've been to Mexico, and that's the extent of my third world country. And a lot of people say, you know, there's lots of parts of Mexico, obviously, that aren't third world. But anyhow, the liberals and their cohorts, their partners in crime, are doing these sorts of malicious acts without consequence. It's like the RCMP doesn't even exist. The RCMP will do a press conference every 3 months and show they caught 9 of these at some border leading into Alberta, or they caught a 5-gallon pail of a Home Depot pail filled with meth, and they'll do a big, and some cash, they'll put down some counterfeit cash and make it look like they did something. I don't know what the budget is for the RCMP. I really don't, but they don't put any budget aside to investigate political crimes, do they? They are running rough. The liberals are running roughshod over this country. RCMP, what the fuck are you doing for real? For real. Oh, I know you're going to be investigating me because I'm low-hanging fruit. I'm easy. You can come and kick my door and take me away and shut me up for a couple days. But other than that, why aren't you investigating these multi-million dollar fraud schemes that the liberals are doing, and multi-billion dollar fraud schemes, the tune of $27 billion to Ukraine? Anyhow, I'm not going to get into all the liberal scandals in this video. So I'm going to put Moose on the Loose, David's video, at the end of my video, and he goes into pretty good detail with regards to that video. And like David does, he's one of the best in Canada, if not the best in Canada. His YouTube channel, people that watch mine know all about him. I don't have to say that. But you know, I can't do investigations and put up charts and run a channel like him. So I'll just put his at the end. I know my limitations. There's a couple more things I want to touch on in this video. Not in any particular order. The next one is Billboard Chris. Billboard Chris is a gentleman, I believe he's based out of the west coast of Canada, and he's kind of famous throughout the world for wearing a billboard, hence the handle Billboard Chris. And he is his main objective is getting a message out with regards to the abuses done to children with regards to reassignment, surgery, pharmaceuticals that doctors prescribe to children to block puberty. I'm not an expert on it, so I can't get into too much detail with regards to what message Chris gets out there, but it is more or less, in a nutshell, he is a strong advocate for not surgically altering children and not medically altering children to want them to change their gender or their gender ideology. So Chris is he's a brave guy. He goes into public squares and he speaks and he tries to get the message across, and he's not really soliciting people. People come up to him and he gets you know, quite a few people that are receptive to his message, but he gets a lot of lunatics that either verbally or physically harm him. And in the most recent incidents in Vancouver, I believe he was downtown Vancouver, somewhere near the water in Vancouver, 2 men dressed as women freaked out on him and physically assaulted him. And this is not uncommon for Chris to be physically assaulted by deranged men wearing dresses. Now, the argument is from the indoctrinated psychopathic liberals is that men that put on lipstick and dresses and they go around in pumps acting like pretending like they're women, it's autogynephilia, it's a mental health disorder. They want to say that they are women, and people like me they're trying to make it illegal to say they are not women. And at the end of the day, they are very dangerous, mentally unstable people. So you think, a lot of people think, okay, this person is mentally unstable, this person is dressed up like a woman, they possibly couldn't you know, put me under physical harm. But in essence, it's a 6'4", 230-pound man that found a giant dress somewhere, or made it out of a tarp, and is unleashed on society because the liberals and liberalism has put laws in place to allow this person to think like this. They can go out and attack people for having different opinions and different ideologies. And Billboard Chris is non-confrontational, he's non-combative. People come up to him, he's a standing object. He's well known, people come up to him and attack him. Now, a lot of times if these people are tracked down, if these people are arrested, the liberal appointed judges are letting them go with no criminal record and letting them go with as little media notoriety as possible, because they want to keep this lunacy going. They want to keep these people causing chaos and confusion amongst the public. Because if we're all in constant fear, constant chaos, and constant confusion, they can get away putting bills through in the middle of the night. They can get away with whatever grift or scam the Liberals have going on a particular day. It's more and more reason to get people at each other so they can put more and more law. Had a GoPro malfunction, so I don't know where the video ended up. So this could be a little dicey with the editing. But so essentially, what they've done, they have purposely unleashed these people on us to do their bidding at street level. They know there is a mental health epidemic. They know there is a drug opioid epidemic in this country, which they facilitated through harm reduction sites, safe reduction sites, whatever you want to call these liberal Karen virtue signaling measures that they put in. They are known to cause even more damage, but they continue to go along with their lies and their narratives. Now, Michelle Ferrari, she's a former member of parliament, and she just did something on, I think, her YouTube channel or TikTok. I'm not sure. I seen it on Facebook, so I don't know where it came from. But I'm sure a lot of people in Canada have seen this video and know what's going on now. But she came out and pointed out what the school system, the high school system in Barrie, Ontario is doing. They come out with a pamphlet or a little booklet that contained a little straw, and it is instructions on how to snort drugs safely. So they're handing this out to high school students. Namely, cocaine is the drug that I believe is in this pamphlet. Now, and it comes with a straw. So this is the mindset of liberalism. This is where liberalism is getting us. Teaching kids from, I guess, from grade 9, which would be what, 13 years old, on how to safely snort cocaine. Now, just say they had no inclination to snort cocaine, but now all of a sudden, these fucking lunatics, these fucking liberal lunatics are handing out paraphernalia and instructions on how to snort cocaine. Maybe that would be something to set off someone to try cocaine. Hey, listen, I never thought about snorting cocaine before, but maybe now I can safely, because the government obviously is okay with it. They're giving me instructions and paraphernalia on how to use it, and a straw to do it. I'm telling you, this fucking country, the mindset of these people is at a breaking point. We're at a precipice in this country where something has to be done with these liberal nuts. Okay, they are literally killing people. Okay, so now you give instructions on how to safely use cocaine. Now you go to your local dealer, or you word of mouth through your local dealer, and you somehow get cocaine laced with fentanyl, and the first time you ever do cocaine, you get a little bit of fentanyl in your cocaine and you're dead instantly. You know how many times this happens per day in Toronto, throughout North America, throughout the world? I know people that have been recreational or even above recreational cocaine users that got fentanyl laced in their cocaine and they're dead. People that I know, okay? Listen, I've been around for quite a while, and I remember, and I'm gonna tell you, this is a true story. You know, I didn't grow up with a silver spoon in my mouth. You know, myself and my crew, we lived a pretty rough life, and a life a lot of times on the edge. I remember when crack cocaine came out in Toronto at around 1986, 1987. So I would have been, say, 16 to 18 years old. And I remember people that I know smoking crack. I never tried it, and that's being honest. People that were close to me started smoking crack, and it was deemed a recreational party type drug. People were smoking it in the open at parties, but that quickly went underground. And this is from personal experience. I'm speaking from personal experience, from what I witnessed throughout the inception of crack cocaine in Toronto. Now, I remember being at house parties and people would be smoking crack like they're passing a joint around. Then you know, months later, it became very aware to people that this wasn't marijuana. This was something more nefarious and harmful than marijuana. So it quickly went underground. Then subsequently, for decades to follow, people that I know became addicted to crack. People I know died as a result of smoking crack. And I've seen witnessed some very, very disturbing events with people smoking crack and people trying to acquire crack. And I'm telling you, for the federal government to make it easier for people to do drugs like that and to start handing out pamphlets in Barrie to show kids on how to safely do cocaine, listen, there's got to be an investigation launched here, and whoever launched this project or this program has to be brought up on charges, or at the very least has to be turfed, at the very least has to be investigated psychologically. This does not make sense. This is not making sense. So if you haven't seen any information with regards to the Barrie High School handing out this sort of stuff, this sort of literature, look into it. It's real, and I'm sure by the time this video is uploaded to my channel, you will have heard about this. It's gonna make international news, I'm hoping. Now, one other thing I want to cover today in today's video is the voter fraud that occurred. Well, that Nate Erskine Smith is he's a member of Scarborough. He's now alleging there was voter fraud, not just voter irregularities, but voter fraud. Now, it was initially reported that that people for the person that won the Liberal provincial nomination to run for the Liberal Party in the province of Ontario, I don't know what nationality he is. He's a brown guy. Apparently he owns a bunch of Domino's pizza chains. He's a wealthy guy, but apparently he canvassed his neighborhood, or he canvassed his demographic, and they came out in droves and they voted for him over well, I wouldn't say he's the incumbent, but he is a federal member of parliament. So you would think that Nate Erskine Smith would have enough pull to beat this pizza slinger. I'm not disparaging pizza. I love pizza. I don't like Domino's pizza. I think it's garbage, but that's besides the point. So this guy, somehow it gets through the networks that they got to come and vote for this guy. And now you don't have to be a Canadian citizen. And apparently you have to have ID, but this is what I'm to understand. People were going there and saying, well, they lost their ID. They, you know, they left it at home. Their dog ate their homework, sort of thing. And they just let them vote anyways. So that is the voter fraud that Nate Erskine Smith is claiming. Now, it is my understanding that Mark Carney and Nate Erskine Smith didn't get along whatsoever. They didn't see eye to eye. So this is just another way of getting rid of a problem. So the federal Liberals made this happen, made this guy, and I'll put his name up on the screen. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name. Anyhow, I'll put his picture and his name up on the screen. But they wanted Nate Erskine Smith out, and they got him out. Now he's going to challenge it, and it's going to go nowhere. And I'll tell you why it's going to go nowhere, because all the judges were already made aware that this is going to happen, and you're going to do as you're told, or you're going to be out. That's how this works, man. This is how the real world works. So people that come into my comment section and say, well, you know, law this and law that, the laws are fucking gone. Obviously, there are no fucking laws. There's only laws for people like me that look like me. The laws gonna be coming down on me. They're gonna fabricate something. I already know that, the way I talk. So it's not so dissimilar to how Mark Carney got installed as leader of the federal Liberals. You know, there was like 400,000 registered Liberals that could vote in the leadership vote, and only 150,000 voted. And Mark Carney won every single riding, beating out all the incumbents. He didn't lose one riding. So, you know, you're talking Chrystia Freeland, you're talking Melanie Jolie, you're talking all these Liberals that have been in their ridings for, you know, since 2015, a lot of them. And this guy comes in, this fork-tongued hunchback lizard comes in, and all of a sudden he wins all the ridings? Come on, it's the same thing. They did the same thing in the federal leadership race that they just did to Nate Erskine Smith. They got it down to a fine science, okay? Anyhow, more of that is going to come out in the next couple days, but that's going to be blown underneath the carpet. Nate Erskine Smith is saying he's already resigning his federal seat in Parliament. He's resigning, and we won't hear about him until he gets appointed to some other municipal board or municipal political seat. So we won't hear about him. He's a weak man anyways, a dandy man anyways. We don't need to hear about him. The more dandies and masculine Karens we get out of our federal politics, or any levels of politics, the better. We need people that have a backbone. We need people with integrity. We need people that aren't going to be bought and paid for, like those 5 floor crossers. I'm obviously wired up today. The final thing I want to talk about is Jason Kenney, the former Premier of Alberta. I didn't like him during COVID. I thought he was liberal during COVID. He appeared to be 100% on the liberal side. So he gets ousted as Premier. Danielle Smith takes over. I don't know if Danielle Smith took it over directly from Kenney, but regardless. So now what Kenney's doing, he's doing the same thing as Aaron O'Toole is doing, and Jean Charest is doing out in Quebec. They've been bought by the liberal fucking crime syndicate to go around spewing bullshit against a conservative movement. And that's what Jason Kenney's doing. Jason Kenney is going against the Alberta independence movement. He never calls it the independence movement. I slip up and call it the separatist movement, but that's by mistake. Jason Kenney is purposely calling it the separatist movement to debunk it, to discredit it. The guy is now going on the liberal MSM talk show circuit, saying that he's getting sick of being a whipping post. He's sick and tired of people threatening him. He's had different threats at multiple levels. Now, I've touched on this in my videos before, where these it's mostly liberals and NDP. They are ramping up the safety concerns, which means they are making it come across that their life is in danger. They're going to need more security. And I said this months and months ago, that this was going to happen. Well, of course they're going to need more security. Look what they're doing to the country. Look at the lies and propaganda they are spewing. Of course, it's common sense that people are going to get upset with them. It's common sense that people are going to want to confront them in the streets. Now, I'm not saying they want to confront them in the streets with physical aggression. I don't condone that. But of course, people are going to come up and call them all sorts of names, because they've earned that. They have earned that. This country is decimated with what they've done to us. Now, like I said, I'm not condoning, I'm not advocating for any sort of violence, and I'm not advocating for any sort of public flip-outs on politicians. I personally wouldn't do it. Because nothing good is going to come of it, okay? So just say I see Doug Ford. You know, time I see Dougie Ford around, I haven't seen him in a couple of years. But there's a very good chance I can run into Doug Ford. Am I going to start yelling and screaming at Doug Ford? No, I'm not going to start yelling and screaming at Doug Ford, because nothing good is going to happen as a result of that. So, you know, it may make you feel better momentarily, but that's it. He's not. Anyhow, just don't do it. I'm not advocating for it. If you do it, hey, that's on you. And I don't really discredit that either, to be honest with you, because I understand the frustrations. And there's a lot of people in way worse situations in this country than me. Way worse. And then there are Then there are all the people in this country that shouldn't be here right now. Upwards of 600,000 people unaccounted for in this country that shouldn't be here, that are having a good go of it compared to the country they came from. They are living off the government. They are living off cash jobs. They are living off a network within their demographic, within their community, that is supporting them, because there's 600,000 unaccounted for. I'll put that information up on the screen if I can find it. I think Mark Miller, that redheaded stepbrother. Oh boy. Anyhow, he come out and said that. I'll see if I can find that info. But anyhow, the only ones that are doing good in this country are the haves, the 1%, and the people that have come from the gutter in other countries and are given lodging, food, cars, clothing, cell phones, internet. They're the ones doing good, because they've come out of a mud hut by a river, by a flood control channel that doesn't even have water in it. It's flowing garbage. So of course, when they see this, they would look at this and think, that is the most pristine water I've ever seen. Compared to some rivers in the world, that is pristine. If you can believe that, a flood control channel after a rainstorm. So of course these people don't want to go back to their country. And what the Liberal government's going to do, they're not going to round them up. We don't have anything like ICE here. Mayor Chow's going around saying no to ICE, no to ICE, if you can understand what the fuck she's saying. We don't have any measures in place or any infrastructure in place to go after 600,000 people in this country illegally. So what they're going to do, the Liberals are going to pass through a motion making them all Canadian citizens, because there are multi-generational Liberal votes. And also coupled with that, it's just furtherance to the destruction of this country. And that's their end goal, is to destroy this country. And I'm telling you, they're almost there. That's it for the video. You got any questions, comments, or concerns, put it in the comment section and I'll get back to you. Thanks for watching. Bye.